Hello, everyone. I'm a Raging Papist. Thanks for joining me, and happy Independence Day. It's been a great day over here. Just had a nice Independence Day for myself, kind of drinking beers and watching movies with the with the folks and family, and just trying to having a laid back good time. I know it may actually be kind of hard to be celebrating independence with how sort of degenerate and fallen our society is, but at the same time, we have to take these moments for ourselves to be confident, to reassert ourselves for who we are, and to be proud of ourselves and what we have accomplished as a nation, as the United States of America. And there are actually many people who, even in the current year, don't know who we declared our independence from. I just saw some various analysis where all these people thought we got our independence from Germany, we got our independence from France. They have no idea who we got our independence from. So just to reiterate, while you hear those fireworks going off in the background, we, the United States of America, on the 4th of July, in the year of our Lord 1776, declared our independence from Great Britain. Yes, those dastardly redcoats, we kicked them into the sea because they simply were trying to tax us without representation. They were being assholes about it. So we told them to fuck off. So happy Independence Day, everybody. Hope you guys had a good one. And I thought I'd go ahead and take some time now to even give my thoughts on the current Brexit, because it's so awesome how we got our independence from Great Britain, and now they just got their independence just a couple days ago from the European Union. So I just think it's what a wonderful circle we've gone in. But getting their independence from the European Union, the entire Brexit affair, from an alt-right reactionary political point of view, uh, historically, this is a big deal. Okay, this is not some little flash in the pan, you know, something that you'll see in a no one's really going to talk about in the history books. People aren't going to be talking about Ferguson in history books, right? People aren't going to be talking about various EU referendums in history books. But now that someone's actually done it, now that a nation has become sovereign, a people have chosen self-determination, well, that's something for the history books. This is something that we in the West can look to. This is a tremendous victory for all of us in the right. And it's a huge defeat for the left. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I have been having so much fun. Basically, since Brexit, we've just had a slew of victories for conservatism, for the right. You have Brexit, which is the beginning of the end. Hopefully, at least the cracks are now forming within the European Union. You have you have Trump going up in the polls, and things are starting to stabilize with him. He's really starting to dish out a lot of attack ads against Hillary Clinton. The Austrians are now changing up their Supreme Court has now ruled that their last election was rigged, and so the entire thing has to be done again. And why that's a big deal is because the Austrian National Party, their Freedom Party, they only lost by 30,000 votes. That's a ridiculously small margin of error. 30,000 votes for a nation, my God. So it's possible. We have reason to hope and believe that they just may win. And if they win, they're going to be calling for a referendum so that Austria leaves the European Union also. I mean, on the right, we are just seeing a tremendous outpouring of support that all these people, we've wanted this for so long, because I know I'm not just speaking for myself here, but on the right, we have seen nothing but loss and devastation for, my God, for years now, at least since 2000, at least. We've seen every front that we've fought on. Think socially. Think about the gay marriage decision. Think economically. Think about the destruction of the middle class, which we are adamantly against here, at least for the conservatives in the United States are. The destruction of the family, our decadent culture and way of life, our laziness, the rise of SJWs. No one has been able to combat these people. The loss of sovereignty for Europeans. the loss of their Christian identity, the loss of their national identity. They were losing all of these things. And I know for myself, I was talking with a good friend of mine, and even the night before Brexit, I was on the phone with him just saying, what do we do? What are we supposed to do? How do we turn back the tide? Because if Brexit would have failed, and that was the largest referendum to date, as far as I know, within the European Union, what were we supposed to do? There's nothing. What we couldn't have done anything. And I do suspect that if Brexit would have failed, then that would have been, the wheels would have come off. The beginning, it would have been the beginning of the end for sort of national identity in the European Union, in Europe, for the Westerners, because I mean it's being crushed everywhere, and this was our only hope. You know, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you are our only hope. That's what Brexit was for us. So I'm just so pleased that that this day in history was made. Um, I'm so proud of the United Kingdom. I'm actually proud that the United States is a part of them. We were a part of them at one point. Uh, and now we've seen a resurgence in nationalism in France, Greece, Austria, Italy. Even some people in Germany are talking about trying to oppose, uh, the Führer herself. You know, um, so I'm just hoping now that we can really start to get the ball rolling here and really start taking it to the European Union, to get our sovereignty back, to get our peoples back, our tribes back. Because this is another thing that I was thinking about. A lot of people don't believe in nation states. Now, that's a funny thing. What do you mean you don't believe in a nation state? But they don't think that a nation state is a positive thing. The same way they don't believe that various economic things, economic theories are positive. They don't believe that the nation state is positive. People on the left, progressives, SJWs, and their ilk, they all think that there should be no nations, there should be no tribes, there should be no individuality. And at the same time, they extol the virtues of individualism. You know, everyone's a special snowflake, but that's besides the point. They all think there should be no nations. There should be nothing that brings a separate identity from one individual to another. They don't believe in individuals. They think that we should all be good little units all to ourselves that can be programmed and plugged into anything and are infinitely interchangeable, infinitely. So we're combating this, and Brexit was a blow to that. Was a blow to the idea that that was just winning, because they were winning. They had won every cultural, every political fight uh, in for the majority of my lifetime, and I'm 30 years old, right? So I was really beginning to lose hope, and then Brexit happened, and that's the best white pill shoved straight down my throat I could have asked for. Um, and so the reason I like the nation state as opposed to the all we are one, you know, we are not nations, we are all one human family. We are not families, we are a human family. There are no races, there are nothing like that. I see the nation state as the logical extension of the smallest unit, which is the family. Um, and you can equate this to many things. I'm probably going to miss a few here, but you could say that, well, an extension of the family is your neighborhood, your community. An extension of that is your tribe. An extension of that is your state. An extension of that is your nation. Because when my fellow Americans get hurt or are harmed, that means something to me. If if there's a nation that's being genocided in Africa, I think that's horrible. But does it mean something to me personally? No, because I am not a member of that tribe, that nation, and it's not logical to say that we are that the human species is just one global collective homogenous thing. That doesn't make any sense. There are different races, there are different cultures, languages, ethos, ideas. They are not synonymous with each other. They're all different inherently. That's why it's illogical to say that we are one human family. No, my family is my tribe, my actual family, my community, my nation. And with the nation state being so far the highest thing, all of those things have leaders too. They all have, we have fathers and mothers, we have elders, we have councils, we have mayordoms, we have counties, we have governors, we have the president, the leader of the nation. We have all these things. What did the European Union, what do they currently have? They have some nebulous council that no one votes for, that no one sees, and they dictate how everybody of different cultures and different nations live. And they want to destroy the identity and the sovereignty of those people because that fits their progressive agenda. That is their grand vision for Europe and for white people and for Christendom and for all these things. They want to see it continuously eroded to the point of irrelevance. And when it's irrelevant, well, then who cares what happens to these people? So bring on the migrant, bring on the Muhammadan, bring all those people in, because the West is irrelevant. So Brexit was the kick that we needed, absolutely. And a nation was essentially born. And that's not really a rhetoric. That's they got their independence. They are a sovereign nation again. They get to dictate what they do as a people. As a people, they will decide now. What are their values? What do they stand for? Who do they want to trade with? Who do they want to negotiate with? And they now have the luxury to be able to tell other nations and other people, go fuck yourself. We don't like you. We don't want you. I want nothing to do with you. You don't mean anything to my people. That's self-determination right there. Something that was terribly lacking for the peoples of Europe, and that the United Kingdom has once again taken for themselves. Will the Scots, will they try to break off from the UK? They may. I don't know local politics. I know that they're pretty fervent for it, at least according to media, but we all know how biased that is. But I would say, I would tell people in the UK, don't let them. Don't let them. No. Because what they want to do is, the Scots want to break off from the UK to immediately join the European Union again. That's what they want. So I would say, from a nationalist standpoint and from a person on the right, we don't want that to happen. We don't want to see the European Union strengthened in any capacity. No. When the European Union has fallen apart, okay, when there is nothing for the Scots to join, then they can have the referendum, and then they can determine if they still want to leave the UK and be actually independent from them. That should be the choice. Because we have to keep pushing here. People are talking about the pendulum swinging now for the right, the Overton window and all that stuff. But the point is, I don't know. Maybe it certainly feels like it has shifted to the right's favor. But as a good friend of mine likes to say, victory begets victory. Once momentum goes into your quarter, you have to keep pushing. Because that's the thing. Although Brexit is a fantastic win against progressivism and the left, that was one battle, right? That's not the war. And it was a climactic battle. It was an epic battle. And we won. But the left isn't going to slink away just yet. And they already have their schemes out there. They already are saying they want a referendum. They are going to continuously demonize people that voted to leave. They would rather damage themselves than give any ground to the right. And to some degree, because this is an actual war. We're not shooting yet. And it'd be nice if it doesn't have to get that way. Truly, who wants violence? But we have to treat them as they treat us. And hopefully we can be better. Well, we are better because we are the ones that have moral value, objectivity. We are the ones that have those things. The left does not. They have eschewed those things. They don't like them. It makes their lives inconvenient to have to deal with moral quandary, right? And religious ideas. It's uncomfortable for them, so they don't like those things. So we do need to be better than them, but we need to fight them on their terms. This is a war that we are in. Whether you want to say it's a culture war, whatever, this is a battle of ideas, and we must win. So take heart. This was a great victory. Push back against them. They're going to demonize you. They're going to claw into the ground for every inch, but take the inches away from them, because every inch of ground that we take from the left gives us 1 inch closer to becoming a people again, to restoring Christendom, to restoring our nations, our communities, our families, for God's sake. Because sooner or later, they will have to give. And when they give, we put our ideas out there, and the marketplace, natural law, which they despise, will win. We know it's going to win. It's natural. So it's just so wonderful that Brexit happened. What a glorious thing! What a glorious event for the world and for Western civilization. And with how hard they are going to try and drop the pound, the British currency, with how hard they're going to try and tell other nations now that you need to pick up the slack for the UK. Now you need to accept these refugees. Now's when the Spanish, the French, the Italians, the Germans, the Austrians, the Greeks, the Hungarians, the Poles, now's when you push back and say, I don't want that anymore. I'm Italian. I want my Italian people to do well. And they're not going to do well with you dictating from some shadow government what we're going to do with our lives. So since we've had this great victory, now is the time to start sharing your ideas. And that's a scary thing. I know it's a scary thing, because just take my own situation. If I'm truly vocal and I tell people what my political stance is, they could damage me. They could damage my career. I'm sure that for many of you, particularly those of you who are not students, who are older, even those of you who are students, I mean, what would happen if you wrote on a history exam the glories of conservatism, and you pushed back against the narrative that you're being fed from your professor? What would happen to you? I know what happened to me when I was in college about 10 years ago. I got downgraded. That was 10 years ago. And if that's how hard they fought 10 years ago, what would they do now? Now that some of them realize that their ideology is in jeopardy, what would they do to you? So I understand that it's difficult to talk about this, but we need more victories. And now that they are bleeding, it's time to capitalize on that. It's time to nibble at the wound like a shark. So, maybe tell your friends. Tell your friends where you stand politically. The people you trust. Start with that. And if they're taken aghast by it, if they don't want to talk to you, if they rebuke your friendship, then they are not your true friends. And that can be extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. I've lost friends before due to politics, and it's not, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But we have to start putting our ideas out there. Start small, go big. Maybe mention, hey, I watch some channels on YouTube. You guys should check these out. Don't appear radical. Don't appear anything. Because really, the more I think about it, the more the alternative right. Is the alternative right really that radical? I don't think it is. The left wants us to be radical, but I don't think we're actually radicals. Even us reactionaries, we are not that radical. We are just conservative. We are people on the right, because we're simply people that have seen what the left has done and said, I don't want that. What they want, I want the opposite. It's like Mark Stein says, the United States is supposed to have two parties, one of the hawks, one of the doves, one of social liberal, one that's social liberal, one that's social conservative, one that is, just back and forth. And somewhere along the way, to be a conservative, to be a Republican, meant that you're just Democrat light. You're just a minor Democratic Party is really all it is. There's no difference. Because although we've had social conservatives in power, the culture just got more social liberal, didn't it? Although we, it's just that's what we're pushing back against. So I wouldn't say that we're actually all that radical. I would just say that we are conservative. We are just people who woke up to the game. We reactionaries, people on the alternative right. It's alternative to the conservatism that we were told that we were supposed to be, which is neoconservative, which is the party of Buckley and sort of very progressive, very internationalist, not nationalist, internationalist. And so we're pushing back against that for an actual conservative opinion. So I don't think that you and I are radicals. I think that we are the common sense conservatives that we were always supposed to be. And this was a con done by, who knows, for some, maybe the Jews, I don't know, but someone in control was changing the entire narrative. The left was changing the narrative to have it be that, you will fall in line. The Republicans, the conservatives, you will fall in line with us. And if you don't, we will destroy you. And so in our haste, we would say, okay, I will shake your hand now. Please leave us alone. And every time we shook hands with the left, every time we came to an agreement where we had a compromise, where we decided, okay, we will give something up with the idea that now they need to give something up too, right? That's a compromise. They would shake our hand and say, thank you, now I want a new deal. Now I want something else. And we never learned. We never learned that you can't shake the hand of the leftist, because the way they view the world is one of constant progress, constant change. It can't end. It can't stop. To stop would mean that their ideology itself is wrong. So obviously they're not going to allow it to stop. So they would accept our compromises with the full knowledge that this is not a compromise, with the full knowledge that they got us in a weaker position than we were. And that is how I think that's how it's gone. So there can be no negotiation with the left. I know that doesn't sound, that's not nice, that's not fun, but it can't be that way, because they want our destruction. And I don't think it's radical then for me to say, well, if they want my destruction, why shouldn't I want their destruction? I'm not saying two wrongs make a right. I'm not even saying eye for an eye, but I'm just saying defend ourselves. And if the enemy won't stop coming at you, frankly, until they are dead, then I think the moral choice is to actually defend yourself and to reject them. So, long live Brexit. God save the Queen. Happy Independence Day, my fellow Americans. See, that's just it. My fellow Americans. We are a tribe. We are a people. I identify with you all. You identify with each other. There's no such thing as I am not a citizen of the world, no matter how much the left wants me to be. I can appreciate, thanks to my Catholicism, I can appreciate that all human beings have dignity and should be treated with respect. But am I a member of that tribe? Certainly not. Certainly not. They have nothing to do with me. And it's in my tribe's interest, my nation's interest, to do something else. So, anyway, thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope you guys have a good one. Happy Independence Day. Happy Brexit. Keep up the fight. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Bye-bye.